What if I told you that some women don't cheat because you weren't good enough, but because they've never been loyal to themselves, let alone loyal to you? They can hold your hand, kiss you, tell you, come home early. But in that very moment, their mind is drifting to a different reality. Cheating doesn't start with sex. It starts with a life without principles, with letting emotions drive the car, with being unable to control themselves, so they chase the feeling through someone else. A stoic man doesn't live to control others. He lives to control himself. But you can't control yourself if you don't realize who's quietly steering the wheel of your life behind your back. In this video, I'll show you 6 types of women most likely to cheat, based on psychology, social behavior, and real experiences shared by thousands of men. Not to scare you, but to make you aware. Because a grown man doesn't walk through life on blind trust. He walks with clarity, with the ability to tell who deserves his energy and who he must walk away from. Have you ever been in a relationship where you later realized she didn't betray you because you failed? She betrayed you because she was never right from the start? Comment below. You'd be surprised how many men carry the same wound and never found the courage to name it. If this speaks to you, like the video, so the algorithm doesn't bury honest conversations. Subscribe to the channel, because we're not here to complain. We're here to grow stronger, one day at a time. Ready? Let's start with type number 1, right now. 1. The addicted to new feelings. Type of woman. She didn't cheat because you were bad. She cheated because you became familiar. She doesn't need someone perfect. She just needs someone new. Someone who makes her heart race, not out of love, but because her brain craves the dopamine hit of change. Have you ever dated a woman like this? At first, she's obsessed with you like you're everything. Every text you send gets a heart emoji. Every date, she lights up like she's living in a movie. But one day out of nowhere, that spark just disappears. And you start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Here's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. The problem is, the thrill wore off. And once the dopamine stopped flooding her system, she started feeling empty. According to a 2021 study from Harvard Medical School, people with high novelty-seeking tendencies have stronger dopaminergic activity. They get bored quickly, struggle with emotional consistency, and constantly chase new highs to feel alive. She doesn't love you. She loves the rush she felt at the beginning. And when routine sets in, that so-called love fades, right along with the dopamine. From a Stoic perspective, this is someone controlled by short-term emotion. Epictetus once said, "A wise man doesn't chase emotions, he steers them, like reins on a horse." But she's not steering. She lets emotion drag her anywhere, without asking where it's going or who gets hurt along the way. She's not loyal to you. She's loyal to how you made her feel. And when that feeling fades, she'll chase it somewhere else. Not because you're lacking, but because she lacks inner control. Have you ever dated someone who burned hot in the beginning, then turned into a stranger just months later? If you have, drop a comment. Because a man with clarity doesn't cling to someone else's addiction. A mature woman knows feelings rise and fall, but she chooses to stay grounded in logic, not chase dopamine spikes. The woman addicted to new feelings, she'll take you on a roller coaster. Blazing romance, cold silence, then the classic, "I need space." And just when you think the connection is back, she starts looking for the next guy. Because to her, love isn't about depth, it's about stimulation. And anything that stops stimulating gets replaced. And the worst part? When you're hurt, left behind, confused, she'll say, "I didn't mean to, I just followed my feelings." And that leads us straight into the next type of woman we have to talk about. 2. The chronic victim. Type of woman ever heard this line? "I wasn't wrong, I just love too much." Or, "I'm just someone who always gets hurt." Sounds honest, right? Maybe even a little endearing, if it's the first time you hear it. But if you hear it again and again, in every phase, every relationship, from her ex all the way to you, then you might be dating a chronic victim. She's never at fault. Anything bad that happens to her is always someone else's fault. Her ex wasn't good enough. Her parents were too strict. Her co-workers didn't understand her. And now, it's you. At first, you feel compassion. She tells her story in a trembling voice, eyes filled with sorrow. You think, I'll be the one to heal her. But what you don't realize is that wound is a tool, and if you don't play the hero exactly the way she expects, you become the next villain in her sad emotional saga. According to Psychology Today, people with chronic self-victimization tendencies often show lack of accountability, emotional manipulation, and the use of pain as a shield against all responsibility. In simple terms, you can't argue, you can't reason, you can't even give honest feedback, because anything you say is treated like a personal attack. From a Stoic lens, this is someone trapped by their past and unprocessed emotions. Epictetus said, "No one can harm you unless you allow them to live rent-free in your mind." But for her, the past doesn't just live on, it becomes a weapon. Her pain turns into performance. And soon you'll notice, when you don't meet her emotional needs, she breaks down. When you give feedback, she cries or blames. When she's wrong, she pulls out a sad story as if pain excuses everything you love her. But somehow you're always paying for wounds you didn't cause. Have you ever loved someone who made you apologize, even when you did nothing wrong? Live beside someone where every word felt like a trigger for guilt or tears? If you have, drop a comment. You might have just escaped a performance you mistook for love. A mature woman may have been hurt, but she chooses healing. She chooses conversation. She chooses responsibility. The chronic victim, she pulls you into a loop where you're no longer a partner, but a supporting role in a script she's been rehearsing for years. And the cruelest part is, the more you love her, the more she believes that you are the reason she suffers. And like you guessed, someone who always needs to blame will also always need someone else to validate them. Another pair of eyes, another compliment, another someone out there who makes her feel like a love victim. And that brings us straight to the next type of woman you need to watch out for. 3. The type of woman who lives for the gaze of others. Have you ever dated someone who seemed to do everything not for herself, but for how it would look to others? She eats food she doesn't like, as long as the picture looks good. She wears outfits that are uncomfortable, as long as they're trending. She goes to places that don't feel like her, as long as she can post a check-in. And you start to notice something. Nothing feels real, except the need to be seen. This is the kind of woman who doesn't live for herself, but for validation through the eyes of others. She may be gentle, articulate, smart, charming, but if you look closely, everything is facing outward. No inner depth, no guiding ideal, no authentic self. She's not seeking peace. She's chasing presence in someone else's mind. According to a study by the University of Houston, people who depend on external validation often suffer higher anxiety, struggle with stable relationships, and break down when they lose the spotlight. From a Stoic perspective, this is a modern tragedy, to live for approval instead of purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Freedom is the ability to live without the permission of others." A woman who lives for others' gaze is not free. You'll see this clearly in love. When you compliment her, she glows. When you're silent, she panics. When you don't post photos, she questions your love. If you don't make it public, she assumes it's not real. Because for her, love isn't in the heart, it's on the feed. She doesn't need safety, she needs an audience. The more you love, the more she needs the world to see it. And the moment you stop playing the role, she'll switch the stage. Have you ever felt like a prop in someone else's story? Not a partner, just an accessory? If so, comment below, because maybe you fell for a reflection, not a person. A mature woman can enjoy attention, but she doesn't rely on it to define herself. She knows the difference between truth and performance. But the woman who lives for the gaze, she doesn't live with you. She performs next to you. And when the spotlight dims, she'll look for a brighter one. The more truth you give, the more she craves the prettier lie. And worst of all, she'll say, "I don't know why this happened. I just followed my feelings." Which brings us to the next type, the feelings above all type. Have you ever dated someone where every sentence starts with, "I feel like," and ends with, "So I did it"? No right, no wrong, no logic, no accountability, only emotion. And in her world, emotion is law. She doesn't act from principle. She acts from mood. If she's happy, she loves hard. If she's off, she shuts down, punishes, disappears. Not because you did something wrong, but because she felt like it. According to the APA, people with high emotional impulsivity are 2.6 times more likely to cheat, explode, or withdraw compared to those who manage emotion well. This isn't about morality, it's about control. From a Stoic view, emotion must be respected, but never worshipped. Marcus Aurelius said, "The strong man isn't the one who feels no anger, but the one who doesn't act on it." But to her, emotion decides everything. I didn't mean to text my ex. I just felt lonely. I didn't think it through. I followed my heart. Sounds honest, but it destroys trust. You can't build anything real on a foundation that shifts daily. Today you're perfect. Tomorrow, if she feels distant, you'll be accused of not understanding her. Have you ever loved someone who, when asked, "Why did you do that?" answered, "I don't know. It felt right at the time"? If so, comment. You might be living in a storm you didn't cause and can't calm. A mature woman feels deeply, but leads with wisdom. She knows when to speak, when to pause, and when to preserve peace. Most of all, she knows the difference between emotion and truth. But the feelings above all woman, she'll pull you into a game where logic loses if it doesn't match her mood. You won't know what you did wrong, only that you didn't feel right at that moment. And when you try to steady things with calm, logic, patience, she'll call you cold, distant, uncaring. Because to her, truth is optional. Emotion is absolute. Yes, emotions matter, but if left unchecked, they destroy the very thing you're trying to build. And that leads us to the next kind of woman. Sweet on the surface, calculating underneath. 5. The two-faced woman. Sweet on the outside, calculated inside. The most dangerous kind of woman isn't the loud one, not the rebellious one, not even the one with a strong ego. It's the one who always smiles gently, speaks softly, appears kind. But inside her mind, there's a system of quiet calculation. She's sweet, she's polite, she makes you feel lucky to have someone like her. But after a few months, you start to realize everything is being orchestrated. You think you're leading the relationship, but you're really following a path she quietly paved. You think you're making decisions, but it's her subtle suggestions, her "just sharing my thoughts," that end up steering you without ever forcing anything. According to a study from the Cambridge Journal of Psychology, some women with high social EQ can adapt and influence smoothly, but without internal ethics, this turns into manipulation and emotional strategy. From a Stoic lens, this woman isn't evil, she's just dangerous. When you lack clarity, Stoicism doesn't tell you to distrust everyone. It tells you to distinguish between sweet words and truth. You'll notice she's respectful but distant emotionally, supportive, but always nudging toward her benefit, not controlling, but you lose your freedom anyway. Arguments don't escalate, but somehow you're always the one who has to change. Ever had an argument where she didn't seem wrong, but neither did you? Ever felt like you were being loved according to a manual? If so, comment below. You may not be controlled by force, you're being guided by a smile. A mature woman knows how to compromise, but she also gives you space to be you. She's honest, she's gentle, but she's not using sweetness as a silent trap. The two-faced woman? She doesn't hurt you loudly. She wears you down with reason. She doesn't break your heart once. She makes you believe you're in love, while slowly losing yourself. And the deepest wound comes not from the lie, but from the fact you once believed it was love. You realize she never cheated with her actions. But she never fully showed up either, which brings us to the next kind of danger, the woman with no identity of her own. 6. The identity-less woman, living through others. Have you ever dated a woman who didn't seem to know who she really was? You ask, "What do you like?" She says, "Whatever you like." You ask, "What's your dream?" She smiles, "As long as I have you, I'm good." Sounds sweet. But after a while, you realize you're not dating a person. You're dating a mirror. She doesn't know what she wants. She doesn't know what she stands for. She has no personal goals, no opinions, no boundaries. She'll love you, then love what you love, then lose herself, then blame you for losing herself in the relationship. According to research from Harvard, people with low self-concept clarity tend to be easily influenced, struggle with stable relationships, and shift emotions easily towards stronger personalities. From a Stoic view, she's not someone to blame, but someone to reconsider. Because love isn't about finding someone just like you. It's about two people who know themselves, then choose to walk together. She may not control you, may not hurt you, may not cheat, but still, you feel alone because you can't build with someone who doesn't know where they stand in their own life. Worse, she can change loyalties. The moment someone more dominant appears, not because you lack anything, but because she lacks the depth to stay. Ever loved someone who felt so peaceful at first, but slowly made you feel empty? Ever felt like you were carrying the relationship for both of you? If so, comment. You're not alone. A mature woman isn't perfect, but she knows who she is. She can change without losing herself. She can be soft without disappearing. But this woman, she loves you, becomes you, then drifts. And what hurts most is realizing you love someone who never truly existed. Love without identity is a relationship where only one person is alive. And the worst part, you love her, but you can't hold her because she never held on to herself, which is when you return to one Stoic truth. A wise man doesn't chase, he chooses, and he walks away when it's no longer right. If you've ever believed that love means always trying harder, that you need to hold on, to endure, to constantly prove you're enough, then you've taken the wrong role. A mature man doesn't love to chase, he loves to choose. And when that choice is no longer right, he walks away with calm. Not because he doesn't care, but because he understands. Emotions matter, but direction matters more. You cannot control another person, but you can absolutely control who enters your life and who no longer belongs there. A woman worth keeping isn't the one who simply makes you feel in love. She's the one who allows you to remain yourself, even while in love. This world isn't lacking attractive women. It's lacking women with depth. And men, there's no shortage of those driven by impulse, but far too few are strong enough to choose wisely and brave enough to stop when it's no longer right. So if you've ever found yourself caught in one of the 6 types we talked about, don't blame yourself. What matters isn't that you stumbled. What matters is whether you have the clarity to take a different step from today. Choose. Don't chase. Hold your value. Don't shrink yourself. Stand tall. Don't force it. Love with clarity, live with reason, and act with conviction. If this message hit home, like the video, so the algorithm doesn't bury what men need to hear, comment your perspective. You never know how many others might learn something powerful from your own experience. And subscribe to the channel, because this isn't a space for entertainment. It's a space to build an unshakable mindset day by day. I'm not here to help you become the most attractive man in the room. I'm here so that you don't have to be and still be respected.